Hi, Carol.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, good evening. Hi, Steve. Hi, Carol.
Hi, Elizabeth. I'm trying to load up an image. So
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, here, background. Okay. Here we go.
How's your cold, Elizabeth?
It's a little better.
Good.
But it's the head is full.
Okay.
Mm.
Can you see an image?
No,
No.
I can just see the word Carol
Mhm.
name.
Oh, well, you don't have to wait for me. I just thought I would try to. Oh, there. Okay, now. Okay. It reversed if it doesn't matter. Now, do you see an image?
Not yet.
Oh, well. Do I do? That's okay.
Well, can you see us, Carol?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see you. I'll try to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
You don't.
So
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I ran into something interesting with the last video. I told you both about it. Somehow I clicked something that shouldn't have been clicked, I guess.
Yeah.
So fortunately, the image was there the whole time. It just didn't come out in the video. So sometimes technology has little quirks.
Yeah. Oh, well. Anything I do isn't quite working, so I'm going to forget it, I guess, for now.
Okay. I'm looking to see if there's anything on this end that could be done.
That's okay. I'll just leave the little figure there.
Okay, so we'll be talking to your name, Carol.
Okay.
So this image here is just, it's not being seen at the moment on this end. All it says is somebody's talking. And so I guess that's the way it will be. It just seems to be life expressing somehow. As a flower, just flowering for no one. And it doesn't seem to care whether there's someone there or not. It's just doing what it's doing. So this took a walk today. And the same thing was happening. Life was just doing what it's doing without meaning, without having to have a meaning, without understanding, and without a need for understanding any of it. Without a name, just there. Just living. Endlessly. And everywhere. The same. Always. It's always nameless. Without a need for a name. Without a need for a meaning. It's just bountiful, endless, infinite, there. It's always there. It's not even waiting. It's not waiting for anything to happen. It's not expecting anything to happen. It's not anything. It's just happening. For its own sake. For its own delight. For its own embrace. Just because it can. Just because it is. Just because. You could say just because of nothing. There's no cause. There's no cause in because. It's just there. Every time it's seen, and it's just there. It sees itself seeing that it's just there. And it's okay. Whatever it is okay. Whatever it sees is okay. whoever it is, since it's everyone, is okay. It's just expressing the inexpressible. In infinite ways. Some of which have names, many of which don't. It doesn't matter. Names don't matter. Nothing's matter. Nothing matters. It may be called matter, but it doesn't matter. It reaches a point where words are useless. Where words don't communicate it. Even though words are it, words are part of everything. They just somehow don't communicate it. It must be seen. It must be seen by itself. To be seen. And in the seeing, there is an intuition and intuitiveness about it. An intuitive kind of knowing that is just seen. Without words, without effort. It's just seen. And it's seeing what's seen. It's all it. It sees what it sees is everything and nothing, and all of it is it. Beyond sense, beyond making any sense. It's there. Always. It's not even waiting to be seen. It's not waiting for anyone or anything. It's always just there. In a sense, it's nonsense. And yet it's everything. So how does this language, or this lack of language, sound to you guys? How does this babble about nothing, making no sense, sound to the one that needs to make sense of everything? Is it ridiculous? Is it silly? Is it impossible? Is it a waste of time? Why bother? Why bother if it's something that can't be expressed? Who cares? Who cares if nobody cares? Yes, Carol.
If there's conflict going on,
Yes.
say from watching something going on in the world, it seems like there's a wanting of just being sucked into that, as if that's a hard reality of some sort. I guess it's maybe habit, or it's more interesting, or that's where the duality is really strong. And but I see that that's going on.
Yes.
There could be some backing off from it, and just, I'm not saying that I don't ever want to be disturbed about anything, because I think that's important, right? You can still be disturbed and still have dropped, or whatever, the me, the I. But to get hooked into disturbances again, like political disturbances a lot, that seems to be a big distraction. So I just wanted to say that, because I think there's room for just looking at that happening and just backing off somehow, or just noticing it, maybe,
Yes.
right?
Well, it's interesting that last time politics started to come up a little bit,
Oh, okay.
and it didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember.
So it's just, politics is just part of everything. It's just part of the infinite. Since the infinite, if we use that term inadequately, includes everything totally, including nothing. It's just one part of the infinite something and nothing. And as part of everything, it's just a small part of everything. And the one that gets sucked in or involved maybe emotionally or thinking or habitually. That's also part of everything. That's also it, or what is, or whatever word is currently being used for the magnificent, nameless everything. However, the separate self or the separate one or the separate Carol makes what she makes out of it all. So what is just, it just is. It's not making anything out of what it is. And the self, the 8 billion selves, or however many, has a habit of identifying with certain things and believing certain things, and ends up making what it makes out of certain things the way that it does certain things. So it's just Carol. Being uncomfortable or the way that she's being about what is political. How does that sound?
Yeah, there was a thought the past few days that possibly politics can sort of grab the mind. And so it's sort of almost like a prison where you're sort of people taking a side or getting involved in philosophy of a political movement of some sort. But more like just getting consumed with it and it being a less of a freedom or something for the for for what is, I guess.
Well, that's the way that selves or separate selves are, that see that they have a separate life from everything, and that they are the ones living that separate life. And so it's particularly divisive these days in politics. A lot of separate selves are doing politics separately from life and separately from themselves. In the US, it's very apparent. The US politically is very divided, mainly into two halves, it seems. And that division is a form of separation. Which will be there as separation as long as there's separation. What is not really concerned. Since it includes everything, even separation, in its infiniteness, every little separation is just a teeny part of infinity. Every little thought, whether it's positive or negative or somewhere in between, every little thought that may seem huge to the person, the separate person, in the scale of infinity is nothing. It's just nothing. Yes, Lisbeth.
Could you say the same thing about gender then?
Gender?
Yeah. Yes.
In terms of male and female?
Yes.
Well, that's more of the infinite expressing itself infinitely as male and female humans, or male and female animals, or male and female plants, plant parts, flowers. That's one thing that is oneness, or the infinite, that way. That's included in the infinite. It's the infinite doing life. That way. The place that male and female comes up is it comes up a lot in living beings, right? It comes up as an aspect of everything. There is a femaleness, there is a maleness as part of everything. How do you see it?
Yeah, as a part of life, yes.
Yes.
But it's also something that in the last few years, yeah, there's a lot of confusion about male and female, and yeah, and when well, in certain spiritual practices, I've heard that, you know, when getting enlightened or getting yeah, you have to even give up your gender, or it transcends transcends the male and the female. I guess that's what it's been talked about.
I see. Well, again, it's seen, gender is seen as part of the infinite. And gender questions are also part of the infinite. Non-gender is part of the infinite. Here, there still seems to be a maleness, perhaps not as perhaps it's seen differently than it has been in the past when Steve was around. And at the same time, it's apparent, just like everything else is apparent. And it's not a it's still there in its apparentness. And that is seen as different. And just the way that it is. It's not seen as a disappearance. Here, anyway. And at the same time, it's not seen as anything other than what is. It's not a it's not really a concern or a big change of some kind. It's just part of what is. It's not seen as a big deal or a problem or something that needs to be figured out or something that needs to be looked at medically or psychologically or none of that. It's just what is. It's just what is doing. It could be said it's just what is doing maleness. And it seems that just what is would be doing femaleness as it is, without any issues, without any of the social concerns that have come up around gender or non-gender or bi-gender or all the new terms that have come up. It's not a concern. It's not concerning. There's no one to be concerned. There is no one to have concern. There's just seeing everything by seeing. All the concerns leave when the self leaves. There's still people doing what people do. And there's no concern about it. There's no one to be concerned about it. There's just seeing everything. And then seeing does what seeing does as it sees. There's no doer doing it. It's just what is doing what it sees to do. So if someone is hungry, if what is hungry, experiencing hunger, it sees hunger, then it is likely to eat something. If there's a medical emergency, it's seen as something seen, and what is does what it sees to do in the emergency. So you have doctors, you have ambulances with medics in emergencies. most of what people are doing now, they're doing as separate selves, following their thoughts and doing what they believe as separate selves needs to be done. And things get done that way. If there's no separation, things still come up. They're seen, and the seeing, life seeing what needs doing, life does it. It still gets done, but the difference is it's not a separate person doing it. It's life or the infinite doing it. That's where all the reactions that people have disappear. All the problems that people have disappear when there's no one there to have the problem. So it may sound like a simple change, until the change is seen. How does that sound?
Good. Identification comes in also, right?
Yes.
When
Yeah.
when the illusion of the self is there and the person is operating in the world, so you can identify as on this side or that side of politics or whatever, or identify as anything, right? So maybe that's what Elizabeth was talking about too. When it's seen that it's an illusion, then gender doesn't, you're not identifying with the gender at all.
Right.
So identification,
Identification is a separation.
yeah. And there's really no such thing as separation, right? There is, and there, right? I mean, as far as we think there is a separation.
There is no separation. It's only you might say, an energetic blip. Some people call it an illusion or delusion or dream. It's the dream itself, or the separation itself, is totally believed.
Right.
It's believed to be, or it's felt to be totally real by the separation, by the idea of separation. It is just an idea, but it's very strongly believed. until it's not. Until it's not there. And then what is there is suddenly seen. As everything. And then that everything sees how everything is different than it was. So it's a seeing, it's not a process. The separate self may see itself change as we continue talking. And that's still the separate self seeing what it sees. Perhaps gauging its progress or commenting about its non-dual nature or its continued duality or whatever it happens to be saying, as it thinks it's doing what's being talked about. Until at some point, it doesn't do it so much. Until at some point, it's no longer there.
And maybe could you say something about having the idea that you have to recover, let's say, from duality? You know, a person might set an intent. Oh, I've got to recover from this. I got to work on this. I got to heal from this.
Yes,
I mean,
that's
yeah,
that happens.
that's too much work, right? Yeah,
Well, it may be said, the self may say that.
yeah.
It says all kinds of stuff about itself. It's
Mm-hmm.
endlessly concerned about what it's doing and its progress or its lack of progress or its inability or its giving up or its trying harder or whatever happens to be floating out of those brain cells. It will say whatever it says, and it will observe whatever it's saying, and it will think whatever it does about what it's observing about itself, until it doesn't do that. And it will think that it's the one that has to do it up to the very moment when it doesn't do it anymore. Its effort or its concern about becoming non-dual it will, up to its dying moment, believe that it's the one doing it.
Right.
Until it's done. And then it sees that it sees everything from seeing rather than from a separate self. So how about all that?
Thank you.
It it's really all just meaningless talk.
Mm.
The talking is really not, the words are really not the important thing. The words don't mean anything. There's something happening besides the words, underneath them or outside of them or above them or somewhere else, as this talking talks, that happens, that apparently happens. So the separate self will continue or constantly do what it does in whatever its effort is. It's just what's happening. It just will do what it does for as long as it does it until it doesn't. And then what's seen is what's seen. And what was separate is seen as no longer there. Can happen. It seems to happen. The dropping seems to happen immediately. When it's finally dropped. When the self finally drops, it seems to be immediately seen. Never to return. And it's okay, whatever the self is saying or doing is okay. It's just what's happening there. Again, it's just what is doing that there in that way until it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And the strongest effort by this separate self to understand what's being said in all these words that mean nothing is also just what's happening. It's just what is doing that
Right.
until it doesn't. Since there is no separate self anywhere, it's only what is being separate, which is part of its infiniteness. It does that for no reason. It just does it until it doesn't. There are lots of stories about why there is a separate self, but they're all stories. They're all just stories, which, in a sense, are more separation. The seeing is not a story.
Mm.
It's seeing. It's the infinite seeing infinitely. So how's that for a lot of words?
Yeah, that was good. I like that. The infinite seeing infinitely.
Well, that's
Love
one way. That's one way of expressing nothing.
Yeah. Not doing.
Yes, there are lots of ways of expressing the inexpressible.
So even seeing is not doing.
One more
Not-
time.
The not or seeing is really not doing. There's no doer.
There is no doer. There is seeing,
Seeing.
right? There is the infinite seeing infinitely the infinite.
Mm. Mm.
There's no person there doing it. It's everything. It's the multiverse and beyond infinitely, seeing infinitely the infinite.
Hmm.
So
Don't even need a telescope for that.
well, it
Or a particle accelerator.
yeah, well, yeah, you can,
Or the ring.
one can get very scientific about it and complicated and see a little bit more maybe than before. But that's still separation looking and collecting information to make itself feel better, or to put to use in a helpful way or a destructive way, or however separation chooses to put that discovery to use. It's still separate until it's not. Then it's infinite, and it's the infinite infinitely
Mhm.
being infinite, which makes little sense to no one.
The mind wants to make something out of it.
Yes,
Hmm.
that's what the mind lives for. It's some people call it the personal computer. It's built in. It's built in, a built-in kind of problem solver for separate people, for separate beings. It's different when there's no separation. Even thoughts, even the brain is seen differently when there's no separation.
Hmm.
Again, the brain, the organ, is just a small part of the infinite.
Okay.
So in separation, the organ, or it likes to call itself mind somehow, takes a big place in the life of the person. In fact, it basically creates the person, the separate person. When there's no separation, there's no separate person to be created constantly.
Or recreating itself,
Yes,
which
yes,
we tend to do in this culture. I got to
yes,
recreate myself. I got to recreate myself. I got to reinvent myself. I got to do this, do that.
yes. It's constantly working at that.
Mhm.
It's the creator. It's its own creator, and it's its own believer in its own creation. Until it's not. Then it's just infiniteness, living infinitely. For no one.
Right. And no fear of death.
Well, what's death?
Yeah.
If everything is infinite, if there's if infiniteness is all there is, what's birth and what's death? And there's no one, there's no longer a one creating itself. there's no longer a one to be born or to die. There may be a body that does what it does. There may be a body that has an apparent lifespan. But if there's no one, then what's the body? If there's no one to have a body or to inhabit a body, if it's totally the infinite living everything, the body is just part of the infinite.
Right.
It may do what it does, it may get sick, it may have a heart attack, it may have a cancer,
Mm.
whatever it may have, or it may live a very healthy life for 110 years or whatever, and fall over into the bushes. Whatever the infinite is doing as a body, it's infinite. It's just beyond comprehension. It's beyond consciousness. It's beyond awareness. It's beyond meditation. It's beyond any effort of the mind, the brain, or the separate self to comprehend. It's just out there. Totally.
With the false self, the me, wants to claim it
Yes,
as it owns it.
it owns everything.
Mm.
It thinks,
Right.
except it thinks it owns everything except the infinite. Except what's missing.
Mm.
Except what is difficult, or accept what is problematic or disappointing or incomprehensible or lost. Accept what it has somehow lost.
Right.
And it doesn't know what it is.
Mm. Hmm.
It's just a phenomenon that is just part of everything for no reason and for no one. It's somehow part of everything. Until it's not, And things are seen that way by the infinite that way.
Hmm. It's no one deciding when that will happen.
No, there is no one. There is no one to do that. Someone may try to decide. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if that happened tonight at 10 p.m.? Oh, wouldn't that sounds nice? Wouldn't that be nice if that happened tomorrow at breakfast? Well, the self believes in magic,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
At least it either believes in magic or he calls it hooey. So, it could drum up some magic or try to drum up some magic for itself. Well, that actually people actually do that. They come up with stuff that's magical, and they're still separate.
Hmm.
They come up with things that appear to be non-dual or no longer separate somehow, and then find that it was all just another form of separation. So there's magical stuff coming up for people in all kinds of ways. That is part of just more separation doing it. And again, it's all part of the infinite. For no reason. Yes, it's
Yeah.
why not laugh about it? It's
Well,
just the way it is. It's just what is.
when you find out there's no reason for it, that's something to laugh about, probably.
Yes.
Like all this time, humans have come up with reasoning.
Yes, they feel that there must be a reason. And so they reason. And the brain has an ability to reason and be reasonable. That is a popular word for humanity. And it's all a form of separation. It's all a way of being separate. Because the person doesn't know any other way. Until it stops knowing. then it's just seen. It's just seen. Everything is just seen. It's so simple.
Mm.
It's profoundly simple. And the simplicity sees how profoundly profound it is. So the words are dancing around again.
Mm.
It's fun to talk about it.
Yes.
It's it's fun. It's fun for no one. It's just simply fun. It's simply laughable. It's laughable in its simplicity. That's also part of everything. Hmm. Yes. Life is not serious. People take things seriously in their separation, but that's what people do. If they're no longer separate people, life is light. Even that volcano erupting in Hawaii with all that lava, even the most dramatic activity in the universe, like stars exploding, planets running into each other, black holes, quasars, all these dramatic events in the universe that have been seen by scientists. The imponderable size of the universe, which appears to be infinite. It's all sounds so serious. It all sounds so serious and meaningful, but it's all lightness. It's just what is, just what's happening. How inconceivable is that? And the neighborhood is still here, doing just fine. The neighborhood is light and fluffy and alive and awesome and all kinds of descriptions. It's beyond words. So,
Uh-oh.
any other questions about nothing? For no one?
Can't think of any.
Well, this
Nothing's coming up.
nothing is just a big nothing. And this kind of talking doesn't seem to happen everywhere.
It's not real.
It's often not well received if it is. It's often not understood, of course. And yet, somehow it feels good to do it. Somehow it feels good to no one. It's just to just talk it. It's okay.
Definitely.
It goes nowhere. And it's nothing. And somehow it's okay.
All right. It's all right.
Okay.
I'll put my video-
So we'll keep doing it for no reason. Oh, there you
Oh,
are.
there you are, Carol.
accurate. See, I have a very bad hair day.
Well, that is kind of a hairy background.
Okay. I thought that was just gonna show up. It's just a little,
Oh,
like a little,
okay.
it's part of a larger drawing I did. I'm
Well,
glad I did that.
you know,
But- It's
do you
nobody.
see-
It's
do you
no one.
see,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
do you see 3 videos?
Well, if I, yeah, I have to go this way. I have to scroll. Now I see Lisbeth. Yeah.
You
Okay,
can put it on a gallery view, I guess.
okay. This just clicked on something. So that's probably what was clicked before when,
Oh, I hope you recorded yourself this time.
well, we'll see. Otherwise,
Or no
otherwise it'll just be,
talking.
For no one.
it'll be just talking and no image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so we'll do it again. Same time, same place. If that's okay.
Light and fluffy out my window.
It does? Does it? Is there any snow out there?
No, it just light and fluffy.
Okay.
Hmm.
Sounds good.
Like my hair, look at it go.
Yeah. It's even bouncing around a little bit.
Yes.
Inside the person here, or the,
That
no,
happens here. That happens here also.
okay.
Okay, so I'll send you a link and we'll do it again.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Bye,
Bye,
Lisa.
Steve.